At the Glen Winston Cup race, we are under a red flag condition. 6 laps have been completed. Terry Labonte is the leader of the race, but there is the crash scene at turn number 5. It's going to be a very lengthy delay. First of all, they will have to attend to JD McDuffie, and then they're going to have to repair the fence that was, as you can see, very badly damaged in that 2-car crash. So let's go to the pit area and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you, Bob. The drivers, as we all are, concerned about the condition of JD McDuffie. We're standing behind pit wall with Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett, 2 of the drivers who could be a major factor in the outcome of today's race. And first, DW, sitting 9th on the field. You're a veteran road racer, and how did the radial tires feel to you? I know you only had a few laps out there, but you practiced on them for a few days, and a lot of the guys are pretty pleased with them.
Yeah, the tires are fine. What happens? It takes a couple laps for the heat to get in them. They're a little bit, I don't know, they're a little uncomfortable, I guess is a good way to put it. Not real secure feeling for the first lap or so, but then as the heat builds and the tire warms up, then it really starts to stick, and then you can really start to go. I lost a couple of spots because my car wasn't comfortable on the start, but it was coming back just when the caution came out. So, you know, the longer we stay up under green, I think the better off all of us will be.
The radial tires, they say, allow you to go into turns a little quicker. Does that concern you with regard to the brake heat, maybe? Yeah.
What the tire does is it has less rolling resistance. In other words, if you roll a radial tire down through here, it'll roll all the way down to the turn down there. If you roll a bias tire, it'll kind of bog down and it'll quit rolling and fall over. And so when we're going down these straightaways into these turns, when you let off the gas, the tire doesn't just bite and make you slow down. The tire wants to continue to roll. It rolls real freely through the turn and into the turn. And a lot of times your entrance into the turns are probably 10 mile an hour faster than you're accustomed to.
Well, Darrell, thanks for joining us. We know you want to get over to back to your pits, and they're preparing lunch for you there. He radioed in and said, make sure you have lunch ready when I get in here and have a little break here, unfortunately. And we're joined by Dale Jarrett and driving the Citgo Ford. And Dale, you're one of the newcomers on the Winston Cup circuit as far as road racing is concerned, but you've done an awfully good job here. Where did you learn to be such a good road racer?
Well, I don't know how good I am. I enjoy it, first of all. It's a lot of fun. I guess the credit that I would have to give would be Bob Bondurant and Bill Cooper out at when they were in California out there. I went out there before I ever ran my first road race, before I could develop any bad habits, I guess. And they taught me a lot about it and everything that I know here. And, you know, I'm appreciative to them for that fact. And I've got a good race car here. That makes a lot of difference whenever you have a car that you can drive. And the guys have just done a super job getting it prepared. The engine's running great. We had a little problem right there before we got the caution as I came to turn 6. Downshifted, and as I started to pick the throttle back up, the car cut off. It just quit running. And I was just glad that Brett was paying attention behind me and didn't hit me. I reached over and switched the boxes, and apparently one of the ignition boxes went bad all of a sudden, so I switched the boxes and it fired right back up. So hopefully the problem's going to be solved, and we can go back to racing as soon as we find out that JD's okay.
Well, we'll give Bob Bondurant some credit. Also, Ned Jarrett, his father, may have some credit because he finished second here and nearly won another race when he had a problem with a few laps to go. So, Ned, you did pretty well with this guy. Let's go up pit road where John Kernan is standing by with Michael Waltrip and Dave Marcus.
Well, Michael, you hit the fence pretty hard the other day. You've got a broken shoulder blade. How are you feeling?
I feel real good. There isn't any problem with me making the distance, I don't think, and judging from the laps I ran yesterday and practicing again this morning. The car that I wrecked yesterday or Friday was a great car. It's a brand new road course car, and it's really a shame to tear it up. This car we have here that we're racing today is the car I finished 4th with here last fall, so it should be a good car, but we just didn't get all the bugs worked out of it. It wants to go north when I want to go south, and we're having a little bit of trouble out there, but you know, I just hate to give away an opportunity like this for my team and for Pennzoil to have a victory, but it looks like that's what we've done. We'll just have to try to scramble to try to improve this car any we can between now and the end of the race. Just a shame.
You know, we've seen a lot of drivers into the wall in practice. Has it been getting used to the radial tire? You can't sling it out as you could a bias ply?
Well, my situation, I think, was I hate to hang it on that because we'll come back here next year and a year beyond and say, you know, why did we ever have a problem with that? Because you get used to it. But my situation, you know, a few people had crashed, and I was tiptoeing into the corners and really being careful. And never dreamed I'd wreck. And when I was on the way off of one of the corners, I hit a curb. And when the radials lose traction, they're more susceptible to spinning all the way out than a bias ply. You know, they'll just kind of bias pile roll with you and grab the track, where as a radial is solid, it doesn't have as big a contact patch when it lands. So that sent me on my way and, you know, sent me to the hospital for a little while. But I hate to pin it on that, but there's a lot of good guys that wrecked. Ricky Rudd, Harry Gant, myself. So it's definitely a little tougher this week.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Moving over to Dave Marcus. Dave.
Away, and there's a couple of posts that were missing back there, but the cables are still there, so they aren't going to do anything with that, but they have replaced the guardrail, and so everything's getting in pretty good shape. Shouldn't be too long until they'll be ready to go again.
And here is the crash to which we referred. JD McDuffie sliding off course in corner number 5. Already lost a wheel. The car hit the guardrail and the tire barrier side impact and then overturned. And then Jimmy Means also came along and hit the same area with the side of his car. His car did not overturn, however. We talked with Jimmy Means. He had a cut on his chin, otherwise was okay, but as we indicated, no official word has come from NASCAR on the condition of JD McDuffie. Well, John Kernan is down on pit road with one of those guys who raced yesterday in the Trans Am race, who's also in action here today, Irv Hare.
That's right, Bob. Double duty for Irv. Had a little bit of a problem. We're all the way back here on the end of the grid. Irv, what was the problem early on?
Well, we got some oil blowing out the breathers on the engine, and we had to stop and see where the oil was coming from. We're going to make another stop here and try to extend the breathers and see if we can keep it from doing it. But if it continues, it's just a problem in the engine that we won't be able to fix.
Let me ask you about the race yesterday. Those two Camaros were awfully tough there at the end, weren't they?
Oh, they sure were. They had us by, a good 15 mile an hour on the back straightaway with the V8 cars over the V6s. So it's just one of those deals you can't overcome. We just tried to finish as good as we could and get as many points as we could here and go on to the street circuits ahead where we can be more competitive.
What about the competition on that circuit? How does that prepare you to jump up here into what a lot of drivers consider the ultimate Winston Cup?
Well, I think it's a good place to get experience. There's 12 to 15 cars in that series that are real competitive. All the drivers are experienced in at least in the front 3/4 of the field. And you get here and you got 30 guys you got to race, or 40, but it's as good as you get, other than being right here.
But technically these Winston Cup guys only run 2 road courses each season. It would seem that the pure road racers would have some type of an edge, but it doesn't always work out that way, does it?
Oh, it really doesn't. These cars are 1,000 pounds heavier and have less tire than the cars we're used to racing. I think that the stock car experience is probably the most valuable experience. The road race experience obviously helps, but being able to be at home in the seat of one of these things and as they feel kind of outrageous going around this racetrack. So I think that experience is probably more value.
Okay, thank you very much, Irv. Bob, back to you.
All right, apparently Irv's getting his radio all hooked up and ready to go again. Drivers are back in their cars. Rusty Wallace has got the helmet on, and he's ready to go after a win here yesterday in the 4th IROC race of the year, and that gave him the championship in IROC and $175,000. He won 3 of the 4 races in IROC this year. Well, we're going to take another break here and be back. You won't miss a thing. We're about to restart the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race